Check your bank account.
What? Whew, it's okay. It's not frozen.
If you live in one of these provinces and you file your taxes, you receive the Canada Carbon Rebate today. That's money from the price on pollution that gets deposited automatically in your bank account 4 times a year.
I don't think everybody is getting the carbon rebate. I don't think they are.
And unless you pollute an awful lot every day, chances are you just received more money than you pay out with the price on pollution.
So CPAC asked, should the carbon tax be repealed? Let's take a look at the video that CPAC made.
Absolutely. I am a big advocate for taxes, but not taxed up the Badinga. We have way too many taxes, and the carbon tax is an unnecessary tax, and it is dividing the country right now. And so in light of that, plus the extra costs that it's costing, Trudeau says it's costing $900 extra a month or a year, and you're going to be getting the $900 back or the $1,000, whatever it is. That is not true.
It is disinformation and misinformation.
We're not taking into consideration taking cabs, buses, everything else other than actual direct fuel that comes to our homes.
Yeah, nobody likes to be taxed up the Badinga. That's for sure. The weather is absolutely terrible here. What a storm we're having. Anyway, let's continue with the video. Got lightning too.
No, I do not. Because I think that the percentage of taxes that are actually towards carbon tax and carbon pricing are quite minute to the way that people perceive it as. When gas goes up, there's usually different reasons and stuff like that. And if you look into it, it's not the carbon tax that's making that happen.
So here's somebody who isn't thinking about the future, because although now there's only about 17 cents per price for a gallon of fuel, and we're not adding on the cost of carbon pricing to home heating. Let's just talk about gas for a moment. Yeah, it's going to go up, and it's going to go up a lot. Like, we're looking at times 4 to times 6 eventually of what we're paying now. So to say it's not adding a lot now, you're not thinking about the future. And if you allow it now, it will be allowed in the future.
Now, if I think the carbon pricing should be repealed, what I really feel the public needs, we need more knowledge, because a lot of general public, for instance, will give answers about it, but we don't really know what we're talking about. We want, if somebody says, do you think something should be expensive? No, we'll say no right away. It's common nature, but with a little bit of knowledge, we can understand if certain things make sense, So the average person, we don't really understand. We know what our carbon footprint even is.
Well, the footprint for anybody in Canada is pretty small, really small, like 1 point something percent. It's pretty much, you can find it absolutely everywhere except for where Liberals hang out. The fact that the footprint for Canada is so small. Plus, I've also said on this channel that we might be actually carbon neutral or negative, because we have so many trees and forests and woodland in Canada that's just soaking up the bad stuff.
I think it's very hard to measure. 1, 2, I don't think the government wants to stop industry, especially manufacturing, and manufacturing requires carbon emission. And so if we want to stimulate manufacturing back into Quebec, because it has disappeared, I think it needs to be repealed.
I thought that was a good point, and a really good reason to axe the tax. Because, yeah, we want to encourage more people to come to Canada, to invest in Canada, and if they see this big tax on an escalator, then they might not come here.
No.
Why?
Because I think we need to. You see, I may not be understanding the exact purpose of carbon pricing, but I think it's helping us to lower our carbon usage, our carbon footprint, to protect the planet in the long run. So I think we need to keep boundaries and limits on how we use carbon, how we spend it.
Well, I think that woman talks for many Liberal voters, to be honest. Don't have a clue and don't want to get educated about it.
There's a lot of things, I think, being taxed. I think people now, they need more of a break, right? You don't want to hike on more more taxing on this economy. So I think take a break now, wait till you reevaluate, you get the economy back, then you can start putting in the other taxes on carbon, on anything else that they want to do.
He does give people a break. He gave liberal provinces a break, but he won't give conservative provinces a break. So it's a very political thing. I do agree with him on one thing, is that we shouldn't be adding taxes to people during this time when food and everything is really difficult. But then again, that's because of taxes and the Liberal government. So yeah, if he'd done what this guy said from the beginning, we wouldn't have what we have now, and we wouldn't have these questions.
We should definitely, there's a price to it, and I think that we should pay for it, and it's worth it because those funds go to.
How can those funds go to this word here? I don't get it. If Trudeau says that we get all the money back, where's the money coming from to go towards the fix? And if you say, well, it's because carbon tax helps pay through people who use gas, right? That's what they say. So if you use more gas, you pay more tax. But we already pay tax. We're already paying a tax on gas. We're already paying a by the mile tax on gas without the carbon tax added on top of the other tax. So we're already paying that.
I think so, yeah. I mean, like, it's people are still driving their cars around anyways. So I think like the higher prices aren't really going to change much, except for just like a higher dent in someone's pocket. You know, the whole, I guess, thing with pushing green and whatnot is still in effect. So I don't really think it's really much of a big deal if they just remove the carbon tax in general.
Exactly. People still need to move around in the cars. They still need to get to work, go out, get the shopping, drop the kids off at the mums or whatever because they can't afford childcare, or drive to the doctors, wherever that is. It could be miles away in the next town. People still need to use their cars, and they're not going to suddenly stop using them and quit the jobs and stay at home and live off the government, are they? Not unless the government's going to give universal basic income to everyone, and, well, that might be a different video.
Taxes exist for a reason, and so no. I'm okay with it.
What? No, this is just a made-up tax, mate. Don't. No, just say repeal the tax, axe the tax. That's what you should be saying.
No, I don't think so.
Now, why is that?
It's an effect because it puts the onus on businesses to find the most cost-effective way of reducing their carbon footprint. So it's a good way of, putting a cost on that output.
It puts a cost on going to work, an extra cost. It gives an extra cost for everything that transported, for your food, for everything. He just doesn't understand that everything costs more because carbon tax makes it cost more, because it doesn't stop people from delivering food to stores. They still have to do that. People still have to go to work. They still have to travel and do things. And carbon tax just makes that harder. Doesn't stop them from doing it. It makes it more expensive to do it.
Where is this money actually going to? You ask for the money, it's like, okay, we raise the gas prices for everything and everything goes up. But are we actually using that money for the economy, or is it going somewhere else? That's the big difference, because if it's not going somewhere that actually is fixing the issue, well, then why are we getting taxed more on this? If it is, then it's like, okay, maybe it's justified.
Okay, well, it's not justified because paying a tax doesn't fix the weather.
No. Why not?
I think it's a good incentive for people to make choices that reduce their carbon consumption.
See, now you're getting it. You're already thinking, but some people can't change their choices in consumption. They have to go to work. Exactly. That's why you watch videos like this, because you get the realization that not everybody can work from home. Huh? A baker can't work from home and then bring his loaves into Sobeys and put them on the shelf and then go home. It doesn't work like that. Some car salesmen work from home, some dodgy ones, but yeah, not all dodgy. Oops. So factory workers can't work from home, can they? They can't just work the machine from a computer at home. A lot of people cannot work from home. They do not have the choice. And as we know now, and as you're realizing, it's not a choice. It's a mandate, almost mandating you to pay more tax to do things that you would normally do without the extra tax.
I would like to think that it serves a purpose, and I don't know necessarily that maybe taxing us is doing what we would like it to do as a population.
Well, yeah, we don't need it because Canada's a CO2 dump. We've got all the trees, and we've got the forestry. We've got Canada being almost like, you know, net zero already, or below already, without it.
I do. Again, too, I think that, you know, especially with everything going on in our economy right now, cost of living and everything like that, I feel like, you know, an extra tax on something that, I mean, as good as carbon tax can possibly be for it, but I think, you know, every little place we can find some room to be able to, you know, have some extra money for regular Canadians is a good thing. So,
yeah, I like that guy. Anything, anywhere that we can save some money. Let's just do it. Let's not be jacking up taxes and everything. That's why we said axe the tax. We don't need the tax. Repeal it. Get rid of it. Boom, gone. Let's get rid of it.
I would say no. I would just like to see it more directly linked to incentives for individuals to reduce carbon consumption. For example, like an electric vehicle reduction, you know, like a rebate based on it directly. I just feel like it's perhaps a bit too disconnected from direct incentives.
I'll just translate that last one for you. I would like to buy a $50,000 Tesla and plug it into the wall and use really cheap electricity off-peak and drive my car around anywhere I want, knowing full well that the taxpayer has paid for about a third of it. Yeah, that's what he means.